All right, guys, so we got to talk about the mainstream liberal media making a claim that they told us for the last 2 years or so, right? That you can't make. You're not supposed to say this claim because if you make this claim, then you are an insurrectionist, okay? And the mainstream liberal media pundit or talking head that we have to talk about today is Miss Yamiche Alcindor, who is one of the wokest progressive mainstream liberal media analysts, okay, that we have, right? I just want to remind you guys on how woke she is and how much Trump derangement syndrome she has as well too, as she recently complained about Trump making jokes about trans people, labeling it transphobic and quote, not the way you're supposed to talk about the issue of trans people competing in sports.
Cultural issues were very popular in that room. Former President Trump went on a long rant about transgender Americans, and he used transphobic language. In particular, he was talking about transgender women competing in sports and said that they were men trying to compete against women, which of course is not the right way to talk about that issue. But what you saw there was sort of the belly of the beast, the Republican Party that is the donor class, that is the people that are sort of setting the policy agenda. They were also most excited about lies. And I think that really sticks with me because a lot of times we talk about sort of throwing red meat to the base. But this was the part of the party that might possibly have been choosing the next nominee before sort of it became about rallies and big crowds. And they, too, are very much into the lies that President Trump is continuing to spew.
Also during that rant, she fear-mongered about the claims that Trump has made about the 2020 election, because apparently you're not supposed to do that, okay? You're not supposed to make certain claims about the election unless you are an insurrectionist, right? If you make claims about the election, you are an insurrectionist. However, that doesn't seem to apply to Democrats and media pundits like her, whom are making the exact same claims about the upcoming midterms and the 2024 presidential election. Claims that Democrats told us that you're not supposed to make.
74% of Americans say the country is going in the wrong direction. Nearly 60% of voters say America's best years are behind it. Nearly 60%. Yamiche, why are people so unhappy these days?
Jose, it's a great question. And I've been out on the campaign trail. I'm in Alabama just today doing some stories about sort of redistricting and the political atmosphere in this state. But what you see really is on the Democratic side, people that are very, very worried about the direction of this country. They're very worried, especially about former President Trump possibly coming back into power, or former President Trump or another Republican stealing the election in 2022 or 2024, or former President Trump or another Republican stealing the election in 2022 or 2024.
Stealing the election in 2022 or 2024.
Because we've seen so many election deniers be elected. So a lot of Democrats on the Democratic side, they're very worried about abortion also and abortion rights. And then on the Republican side, I can tell you that I'm also hearing from people that, especially some that are unfortunately believing conspiracy theories and lies about the election of 2020, they're worried that the country is going in the wrong direction because they're seeing too many people say that the election was free and fair, which of course it was. You're also hearing a lot of anxiety based on my reporting.
Guys, the cognitive dissonance there in that little segment is off the charts, right? I've never seen so much cognitive dissonance in my life. I want you guys to understand exactly what this woman is saying. What she's saying is that if Democrats lose in the midterms of 2024, then the election was stolen. A claim that they say you're not supposed to make. You can't make the claim that elections are stolen because apparently that's impossible to do. And if you do that, that is anti-democratic. You're an insurrection and you're election denier, right? However, she, again, just made the claim that if the Republicans win, then the election was stolen, while at the same time saying that the people who have made claims about the 2020 election are election deniers and that the 2020 election was 100% free and fair, presumably because Biden became president, right? So again, I want y'all to understand, if Democrats lose, the election is stolen. If Democrats win, the election was 100% free and fair. Again, she just told you. She just told you. She just said right there and told you exactly what it is. If/when the Democrats lose, they're going to say that the election was stolen, it was rigged, and the reason why it was rigged is because Republicans have taken away black people / so-called people of colors voting rights.
Republicans who are passing bill after bill trying to restrict voting rights. Chuck Schumer is calling it an existential threat to democracy. Why not back a filibuster rule that at least gets around issues including voting rights or immigration? Jim Clyburn, someone, of course, who you know very well, has backed the idea of a filibuster rule when it comes to civil rights and voting rights.
In a democracy, no right is more sacred than the right to vote. And yet, across the country, Republican-controlled state legislatures are conducting the most sweeping and coordinated attack on voting rights in generations. Republican legislatures are not only making it harder to vote, they're making it easier to steal an election. Actually believe that.
Yeah, so as you guys can see there, the Democrats are essentially falsely claiming that the Republicans are trying to steal the midterm in 2024 election by passing these so-called voter suppression laws that don't work, right? Because in the Georgia primary, in the Arizona primary, states that pass what the Democrats called voter suppression laws, right, designed to keep black people and so-called people of color from voting, they had record turnout during the primary, okay? So, like I said in the past, if the GOP is actually really passing these laws with the intention of trying to keep people from voting, they should stop passing these laws because they're not working, right? They're not working, okay? Something's not adding up. There was record turnout in the 2020 election. There's record turnout in the primaries, but somehow people's votes are being suppressed according to the Democrat conspiracy, right? Again, somebody make it make sense. But, you know, it can't make sense because we all know it's a conspiracy. It is a false claim about the election that they're pushing because they're trying to make excuses for if/when they lose. But we shouldn't be surprised by this because Democrats have a history of making false claims about the elections when they don't get their way or they believe they're not going to get their way. And before I play this montage here, I got to make sure I give the proper disclaimer, right? These claims that are made by Democrats about the 2000 and 2016 elections are false. These are false claims about the election. The elections, every presidential election has been 100% fair and legitimate. I just want to make that clear, right? I just want to make that clear for the YouTube moderators, right? I'm giving proper context and disclaimer before I play these false claims, these conspiracy theories from the Democrats. I'm trying to keep this video up, okay? Because again, they told us you're not supposed to say this type of stuff. You can't say it.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's the real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is in question, yes. So that was a very tainted election. And in that sense, it's illegitimate.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump.
Overwhelming evidence of official misconduct.
deliberate fraud and an attempt to suppress voter turnout.
It is signed by myself on behalf of my diverse constituents and the millions of Americans who have been disenfranchised by Florida's inaccurate vote count.
The Supreme Court, not the people of the United States, decided this election.
Yeah, so according to the Democrat Party, right, in 2021 and 2022, what they did when it comes to the 2000 election and the 2016 election, two elections that they lost, right, that were 100% free and fair, they are attempted insurrectionists, right? They're insurrectionists. They attempted a coup, okay? And I don't know, man, maybe they should be barred from being in office, right? They should be barred from being in office according to their own logic, right? They're election deniers. Election deniers. Again, isn't it amazing the double standard we see here, guys? Hypocrisy from the Democrat Party. When they lose, oh, the election was stolen, right? When they win, the election was 100% free and fair. And if you make any other claims, well, we're going to stop you from running for office, right? We're going to say you're an insurrectionist, you're an election denier, et cetera, et cetera. When they paved the way for all the stuff that they complained about that happened in 2020, they paved the way for it. They paved the way for it. And now, fast forward to 2022, going into the midterms, they are actively funding candidates, right, that are making claims that they say are existential threat to democracy, the same claims that they made in the past, right? And they are making claims that if they lose, then the election was somehow stolen. Again, a claim that they told us that you're not supposed to say, right? Again, the cognitive dissonance here from the Democrat Party, it really blows my mind, right? It really blows my mind, but I'm telling you, the Democrats are going to do this. This is what they're going to say. This is the card they're going to play if/when they lose the midterms and in 2024, right? And I guarantee you, none of them will be censored. None of them will be censored, right? I can't wait till it happens. I can't wait to see the reaction of social media and big tech. Because if they don't censor the Democrats for making these claims, right, then it will also show the obvious censorship bias that we have in the sense that Democrats and leftists can say whatever they want, and the people on the right, can make the same exact claims, but they're censored because, you know, people on the right saying this stuff is dangerous. But when people on the left say it, you know, it's freedom of speech. Again, this is why the censorship really bothers me. Okay, in regards to people's ability to speak freely online, because it's not evenly enforced. And the whole claims about the election thing is an overt example. It's an obvious example of that bias in which the Democrats can say whatever they want about elections. They will never be punished for it. They won't be banned, right, from social media, from the internet for it. But if you're on the right and you make those same claims, then you'll get banned, right? Because apparently those claims are dangerous. So we'll see. But I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.